And on the 10-meter platform, Ethan Foster of Stanford. He's a freshman.
And that was a forward 3.5 somersault, and it gives them an opportunity to come here and dive off the lower platforms and not risk injury. That's a good start for Ethan. He's a beautiful diver.
Now Henry Fasaro of USC, he's going off the 7-meter platform, actually 7.5 meters.
Henry Fasaro had a real tough year last year. He broke his foot. Didn't know if he would get to dive again in college, but he has sufficiently recovered, and he is a gorgeous diver. He is a Pac-12 champion from previous years.
Bjorn Markentine of Arizona, a freshman from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And by the way, the last diver to sweep all 3 boards of the Pac-12s was Christian Ibsen of Stanford in 2015. Connor Casey, who won both springboard competitions, is not in the platform competition.
That's right. He has dived platform before, but he is not in it this year. Markington, the freshman from representing Arizona, Canadian, is doing his first dive from his handstand position. And remember, they all have to do a dive from an arm stand. This carries a fairly low degree of difficulty, but it is beautifully performed. Anytime you see a dive that receives 8s or above.
Casey Ponton of Arizona, he was 7th in this event last year, 8th on platform at the Pac-12s back in 2018.
Pretty lonely up there. When you go up there, most people are surprised at how much higher it looks from above than from below on the pool deck.
We've shot opens up there. It is high. 7s to 8s for Casey Ponton.
Nice start for Casey Ponton.
Luke McDivitt, the redshirt freshman for Utah, and McDivitt is a redshirt freshman from Lexington, South Carolina.
Electing to do his arm stand from, it's called a backwards arm stand, any way you would like, but the judges are judging from the minute your feet leave the platform to go up into that arm stand. And that was a very nice press. He demonstrated the balance and control that the judges want to see.
And now here on platform, George Korovin of USC.
There's been some amazing divers from Penza, Russia, and they have been extraordinary Olympians, Olympic champions. And George Korovin, being a freshman at USC, has lots of things to learn about college diving.
Noah Vigren, he was 2nd in the 3-meter competition.
The guy has amazing flexibility. His coach, Patrick Jeffrey, who's in his 6th year at Stanford, was an Olympian on the platform twice. And he is a superb technician when it comes to teaching not only the takeoffs, but the dives overall.
There are 7 judges. The top 2 and bottom 2 scores are factored out. The middle 3 are added together and multiplied by the all-important degree of difficulty. Here's the defending champion, Yusef Salim of ASU.
And there he goes. He doesn't miss. The lowest you see Yusef receive most of the time is a 7, maybe a 6.5.
So a 67.5, Salim tied for the lead after 1 dive, 5 rounds to go. Ethan Foster and Yusef Salim tied for the lead after 1 round. Casey Ponton of Arizona right now is in 3rd. He's going on off the 7-meter platform here for his 2nd dive.
There's a 5-meter below the 7-meter. And then there's the highest platform, the 10-meter, and he did an inward 2.5 somersault. And sometimes you see a higher degree of difficulty off a lower platform because you're getting in more somersaults from a lower platform.
Now here's Henry Fasaro, likewise going off the 7-meter platform with his arm stand. He was injured at last year's Pac-12 championships and didn't dive.
No, he couldn't dive. majors he's involved in. Well, I couldn't.
Law, history, and culture is what I have.
He's amazing. He's just amazing. And I can tell you that one of the most important things in his life is his faith, and he lives it.
Here's Bjorn Markentine of Arizona going off the 10-meter platform.
What I love about Bjorn's diving, and that dive was tremendous, beautiful dive, is that he jumped so high off the 10-meter. He was third on the 1 meter. Look how high he is
almost
when
like
he
a
jumps.
springboard.
Going in the water there, I think he would have got 10s on that dive.
And now Casey Potton, who was in third place after one dive. This is his second of 6 dives in the competition.
He's going to do his arm stand in round 2. There's a little flaw there already, because when he pressed up into the arm stand, he didn't hold the position. And you can see that he presses up and goes. That's a little too fast.
Luke McDivitt is next, redshirt freshman for Utah. Utah has...
Oh, that's a nice round 2 dive.
6.5.
Just good control all the way around.
He gets a 58.5 with his dive. George Korovin, the freshman from USC. We talk about him being from Penza, Russia. Great divers coming from there, including George Korovin, the freshman from USC. We talk about him being from Penza, Russia. Great divers coming from there, including former UCLA women's diver Maria Polyakova.
Yeah, she was champion even last year and hopes to go to the Olympic Games also in 2020, because she missed out in 2016 and was not happy about not being chosen for Russia. He does a back double somersault with a half twist, and you see him turn around and do the half twist first. And
7 to 7.5 for Korovin. Now Noah Vigran of Stanford in 6th place after his first dive. This is his second of 6 dives.
Noah standing backwards.
What's that like to dangle 3 stories above the water with your
Well, I think we
heels?
should go up there and let you find out, Rich.
I'm good.
I could use a better analogy, but it wouldn't be allowed. 5.5s and 6, I think, on that dive. Mostly 6s, I believe.
He cards a 56. The co-leader after one dive, and the defending champion, Youssef Salim from Cairo, Egypt. He did dive in the Rio Olympics at age 17, was 25th on 3 meter.
To separate himself from the field. Now, he over-rotates just slightly on that. He doesn't miss by a tremendous amount. And this is about the most that he ever misses, but he does a beautiful jump. He completes the somersaults.
In 2 rounds with 4 to go, Bjorn Markentine, the freshman from Arizona, has taken the lead. There he is. Foster considering a major in chemistry at Stanford, and he would like to be an orthopedic surgeon.
He's also very artistic. One of his hobbies is playing the viola, and he pole vaulted in high school. Now that's quite a combo, along with diving. Arm stand forward, good balance in the arm stand. And
A little over rotation for Foster with his 3rd dive. That'll be his lowest score, 32.4. Henry Fasaro of USC was 8th after the first round, 7th after the second. This is his 3rd of 6 dives, going off the 5-meter platform.
such an incredible young man and a team player. Dives just to score points, basically, because he doesn't consider himself a platform diver, but he's a good enough athlete.
Bjorn Markentine, the leader after 2 dives. Highest scoring dive so far in the competition. His second dive is 75.6. Taking a little extra time.
Oh, he had this dive nailed, and he was vertical going in the water. He just made a lot of splash. When you go in the water, if you don't hold your hands together so that you get underwater at least to your armpits before your arms come apart, then you can make a lot of splash. You displace water. We've had some fun.
Casey Potton, the senior for Arizona, here in his senior year, hopes to qualify for his first ever NCAAs.
I think just like cats, divers are creatures of habit. And we always go back to the same things. We have superstitions too a lot of times.
Luke McDivitt of Utah in 4th place after 2 dives. Lexington, South Carolina.
It's a strange position he's in before he takes off. Each to his own. I haven't seen a lot of people with that type of stance before, and he lifts up and bounces a little bit before he leaves the platform, and there'll be a deduction for that.
George Corbin of USC, 6th on 1 meter, 4th on 3 meter. Here in his freshman year, it's his 3rd final.
And it's really quite a testament to his athleticism and his diving prowess. That's the kind of thing that will get you Diver of the Year. And we'll see what happens. But if Youssef Salim wins this competition, you can look for him possibly to be Diver of the Year.
Noah Vigran of Stanford. Vigran's Cardinal.
Not sure whether the nod would go to somebody that won 2 events and didn't dive in a 3rd one, or somebody that was in the possibly the top 3 in all. Nice reverse 2.5. Pretty entry with a little more splash.
6.5 to 7.5 for Vigran. 58.8. And now Youssef Salim slipped into 2nd with the pedestrian dive in the 2nd round, looking for better here in the 3rd. This is the 3rd of his 6 dives.
If he receives 7s here, he'll go into 1st, and I don't think he's going to get it. Might be appropriate from the judges, but you can see a little arch in his back also.
And he's in 2nd place behind Bjorn Markenton. 3 dives down, 3 to go. And right now, Arizona freshman Bjorn Markenton has the lead.
But he's doing 2.5 somersaults backwards, so it carries a pretty high degree of difficulty at 3.0. When you discard,
6.5, 7.
So we see the feet a little bit apart. There's so many details that the judges judge.
Now Henry Fasaro of USC, a senior.
I love Henry Fasaro's tuck. Of course, it's personal preference, but the judges do judge on overall impression, and if they don't see a split tuck, what they call cowboying in gymnastics, they're likely to give the dive higher scores.
7.5, 7, 7, 7, 7.
Bjorn Markenton of Arizona. This is his 4th of 6 dives. The leader heading into round 4 of the platform diving competition. Arizona freshman studying biomedical engineering. A lot of these divers have tough majors, Cynthia. I guess it's the kind of thing, if you work hard at one thing, you tend to work hard at everything, right?
I don't think that's unusual. Swimmers and divers usually have very high grade point averages at the universities they represent. "6'3". Pretty. A little under-rotated. You might call that just a hair deficient. His coach, Dwight Dumais, is in his 2nd year at the University of Arizona, and I think he is doing a spectacular job there. Spectacular, not only in recruiting young men like Bjorn, but doing a lot of really good technical work.
Casey Ponton of Arizona in 8th place.
Casey Ponton from Arizona, again coached by Dwight Dumais.
His 3rd consecutive Pac-12 platform final.
He's vertical going in the water. Pretty steady. And in this contest, if you're receiving 7s or above, you're probably moving up, because it hadn't been the highest scoring we've seen.
6.5 and 7 for Casey Ponton. And now Luke McDivitt, redshirt freshman for Utah.
There's that kind of awkward looking position with his knees bent apart before he goes. I don't know exactly why he does that, but it works for him. And the judges wouldn't necessarily take off of that, because they don't judge until the diver leaves the platform.
Unless he's doing an arm stand.
That's right. It's a different criteria. But this dive is the best he's done.
Yes, scores range
That will
from
help him tremendously.
7.5 to 8.5. 76.8. That is the highest scoring dive of any diver so far in the competition. McDivitt, who was fifth, will be back in it. And now George Corvin of USC in third place after 3 dives. This is dive number 4 of 6 for him.
Don't want a lot of distractions, but it's not like a golf tournament where you're putting and you need to be completely still and quiet.
64.5 for Corvin, and now Noah Vigren in 4th place after 3 dives. Again, every final he's been in the Pac-12s as a freshman and sophomore, 4 previous, he has finished 2nd.
Oh, he misses that dive. He's not going to stay in the top 4, I don't believe, with dives like this.
Yeah, and his scores range from 3 to 4.5. That's not like Vigren, the sophomore from Stanford, just a 34.5. And now Youssef Salim. We've seen better out of him as well.
Yes, we have. Early. Oh, no. That was horrible. Really unusual. Haven't seen anything like this in a long time. You saw him kick out before he got to parallel to the water or horizontal. Way too early.
Just a 27.2 for Salim. We have 2 rounds left in the platform competition. We've got 2 rounds left in the platform diving competition, and Arizona freshman Bjorn Markenton has the lead. 2nd right now, USC freshman George Corvin, and in 3rd, Utah freshman Luke McDivitt, the freshman taking charge here, undaunted in this platform diving competition. Here's another freshman, Ethan Foster, in 5th place after 4 dives, going off the 7-meter platform, and this is his next to last dive.
Looked like a pretty good start to the dive. A Stanford freshman who I talked about being so versatile, a pole vaulter in high school. One of his hobbies is the viola. He plays that. And misses this dive slightly because of the entry going into the water. Doesn't really stay tight. Not sure how well he uses his visual references, spotting the water before he unfolds out of the dive.
And now Henry Fasaro of USC, along with former USC teammate Dashiell Enos. He made the final of the Synchro 3-meter at the 2016 U.S. Olympic Trials. So he, along with many here, have Olympic dreams for Tokyo.
Oh, that is so nice. It's off a lower platform, a little lower degree of difficulty in this case. But Henry Fasaro was in 4th. Could he challenge to get into one of the top 3 spots? It would be tough. He's pretty far back at the moment, but as you have seen, this contest is sort of all over the boards, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Our leader is Bjorn Markenton of Arizona, his next to last dive, and he'll be going as he has the entire competition off the highest platform, the 10-meter platform. He has led since his 2nd round dive, the 2nd highest scoring so far in this competition of any diver.
Well, that's just a little bit under-rotated. That looked somewhat weak to me. It's not a huge miss. I think it'll keep him in 1st place because he had almost a 20-point lead. But
it does open the door, though.
Yeah, if somebody gets up and does a dive for 8s, hello.
Markenton will have one more dive. Casey Ponton of Arizona in 8th place after 4 dives. Ponton in his 3rd consecutive final, the platform at the Pac-12 Championships. Senior from Spring, Texas, and Oak Ridge High School.
And dives every day and work out with Bjorn Markenton. I would say maybe again in the 6. Not sure about 6.5. Remember, there are 7 judges, 3 on one side of the pool, 4 on the other, and they're looking for the vertical entry as well as not making a lot of splash. They look for a lot of different things, but that's a couple of factors that leave an impression.
An overall presentation as well, correct?
You bet.
Here's Luke McDivitt in third place. The door could be open for him. Would need 8.5s to move into first.
Not going to receive the 8.5s. He will probably stay in the top 3, and it's going to be close in the last round. It's going to be close. He over-rotated. I'm not seeing good entries this afternoon in the men's platform diving.
5-6 for McDivitt. And now George Korovin, and the door is open for him to be able to pass Bjorn Markentin. He too needs 8.5s to be able to pass him. This is the next to last dive for the USC freshman. Has been a finalist on 1 meter at the Russian Senior National Championships. High hopes for the Tokyo Games.
And is coached by another Olympian, Hongping Lee, who was an Olympian for China and a gorgeous diver. Hongping was. Hongping's in his 21st year. Not enough to take the lead, but he's going to stay in one of the top 2 or 3 spots for sure.
Yep, he'll have a chance heading into that last dive. 6.5 to 7.5 for George Korovin at 60.9. That'll leave him about 11 points behind Bjorn Markentin heading into the last dive. Now Noah Vigran of Stanford needs a big one here to approach the podium. In 7th place heading into his next to last dive.
Nice press up into the arm stand. Oh, that's so much better. And it's the second to last round. Is it too little, too late to get into the top 3? I would say yes. But it certainly make him feel better going into the last round. Over 70 points. We haven't seen a lot of that.
Now Youssef Salim. Salim in 6th place after, well, we've been watching him for a long time, Cynthia, and maybe his poorest dive we've ever seen was his last. It dropped him from 2nd to 6th.
Just to get to the top 3, he needs 9s on this dive. 9s. We haven't seen any 9s in this contest. Oh,
That's
it's
pretty
a good
good
dive. It's a real good dive. He could put himself in a pretty good position if he receives some 8s or 8.5s.
6.5, 7, 6.5.
He gets 6 to 7s.
Not quite vertical.
And a 63.55. 5 rounds down. We have 1 round left, and a platform champion will be crowned. And now we're going to the last round of the platform diving competition. Bjorn Markentin of Arizona has maintained that lead since the 2nd round, but it's close. George Korovin of USC, another freshman, is in 2nd. And in 3rd place right now, fellow freshman Luke McDivitt of Utah. Ethan Foster of Stanford, likewise a freshman. 4 are among the 8 in this competition. Just 3 upperclassmen, 3 seniors. Foster in 8th place, getting into his last dive. Along with diving, also a pole vaulter in high school.
Pretty. It's not unusual for a diver to do their first and last dives as their favorite dives. Maybe start with a little momentum by doing a great dive in the first round and ending up with a dive that they can really depend on. And this was definitely his best dive.
His highest scoring dive in this competition is 70.4. Henry Fusaro had such high hopes for this platform competition. He had been 4th on 1 meter, 3rd on 3 meter. He is 6th heading into his final dive. He'll go off the 5 meter platform.
Very respectable. He did all of his dives for basically 6s or above, and we haven't seen a lot of the competitors do that. Henry has lower degree of difficulty on his last 2 dives, so he's not going to move up into one of the top 3 spots, but certainly valiant to do platform diving and score points for USC.
5253B, 10
And this competition comes down in large part to what Bjorn Markington can do right here. His last dive was his lowest scoring so far in the competition of 54, and he leads by a little more than 10 points heading in to his last dive, with the second place diver George Corvin to follow.
And he's got plenty of degree of difficulty on this dive to stay ahead if he does this dive reasonably. That means probably 6.5s or above. Wow, that was pretty.
Gives
This
himself
young
a great
man,
shot.
yes, this young man has a lot to look forward to, and so does Dwight Dumais, the coach, in his second year at Arizona. I mean, his form is beautiful. He's got charisma, and he's only going to get better. He's only a freshman.
6.5 to 7.5 for Markington, and puts him at a 6 dive total of 384.7. Means George Corvin coming up in a bit is going to need a big dive.
That's higher than the score that won this competition last year. A lot higher.
Now Casey Ponton of Arizona. Last year Salim won it with a 339.1.
Pretty good. He cannot go ahead of Bjorn Markington. It is statistically impossible. He'd have to have 12s. Remember, judges judge from 0 to 10 in 1/2 point increments. But this is respectable in the final round. Will it
6.5.
keep him in second place is the question.
Yeah, 6.5 to 7.5. 65.6 gives him 330.25.
I said keep him in second. He was in seventh, but it could move him up drastically.
And now Luke McDivitt of Utah in third place heading into his last dive. Are we going to have an all-freshman podium here? What does McDivitt have to say here in his last effort in third place heading into his 6th dive? Again going with the Miyagi-san bent knees.
Oh.
Ooh.
That is not going to cut it. There seems to be a lack of energy in this competition. I'm not going to say, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say they're tired, but this has not been a competition that you would write home about.
However, George Corvin can write home to Russia about something. If he has a big dive here, he needs 8.5s to win this competition. He is in second heading into this last dive. Divers oftentimes save their best for last. With his heels dangling off the precipice, what does Corvin have in store? Pretty good.
Yes. I don't think he's going to receive the 8.5s. And there's one little detail that might prevent that, as well as the entry into the water not quite as stretched, but his feet are going to come apart just a little bit right there. So he goes in the water and makes a little bit of splash. It's certainly a competent dive, and it's going to keep him in one of the top 3 spots for sure.
67.2, 374. So Bjorn Markington with a score of 384 leads it by 11 over Corvin. Nora Vigren in 4th place heading into his last dive.
Neither one of these last 2 divers can go ahead of Bjorn Markington. It's statistically impossible. The freshman from Arizona is going to win this contest. And that was a signature dive that Coach Patrick Jeffrey used to do. It was one of the best ever. And I think he's taught Noah Vigren beautifully on this final round dive.
And it might get him on the platform.
It might.
On the podium, I should say.
It might put him right into 3rd place.
75.9, one of the
like
highest scoring dives in the competition. In fact, the second highest.
Not quite. I think it might leave him in 3rd place. We're going to find out right now.
Youssef Salim needs 8.5s to get into 3rd place.
To go ahead of Noah Vigren. Just did that beautiful dive. Who would have thought these guys would be vying for third? Oh, that was nice, but 8.5s? Probably not. Maybe some 8s. I don't think the 8.5s, and he's shaking his head he knows.
Yeah, Salim might get denied after being a two-time champion last year. He was second on 1 meter, fourth on 3 meter, and he will not win this championship.
No.
But Bjorn Markentin of Arizona, a freshman, takes the title in the men's platform diving competition. Arizona has their first men's diving champion on any board since Rafa Quintero won the platform competition back in 2013. It's freshman Bjorn Markentin. Another freshman, George Horovin of USC, finishes second, and Noah Vigran, the Stanford sophomore, third. We're joined by